What do you rely on when you don't have all the answers? Scripture teaches that in those moments, the heart will either lean on its own understanding or learn to trust God. Good day, family. This is video number 14 in our series, The Heart. Today's lesson is titled, When the Heart Learns to Trust God. As we continue in the maturity section of this series, Scripture begins or brings us to something that does not come naturally and cannot be rushed, and that is trust. Trust is not assumed. Trust is learned, and it's learned over time through experience, obedience, and surrender. A heart that has been formed does not simply believe in God, it learns to rest in God. Trust is more than agreement. Many people agree with God intellectually, but struggle to trust Him practically. Trust goes beyond knowing what God says. It involves relying on Him. Relying on God when outcomes are uncertain and paths are unclear. Scripture consistently shows that trust is not passive. It is an active placing of confidence in God's wisdom rather than our own understanding. Consider with me Proverbs 3, verses 5 and 6. There we are instructed to trust in the Lord with all of our heart and lean not to our own understanding. That instruction tells us where trust is rooted, not in circumstance, but in the heart. And trust is formed through dependence. Trust rarely develops in comfort. More often, it is formed in moments where control is limited and answers are incomplete. God uses uncertainty to teach dependence. When the heart learns that God is faithful, even when outcomes differ from expectations, then it begins to release the need to manage everything itself. That release is not resignation. It is confidence. Confidence that God's guidance is sufficient even when it unfolds gradually. Consider with me why trust feels difficult. Trust feels difficult because it requires surrender. The heart naturally wants clarity, predictability, and control. However, trust asks us to follow God without seeing the full path ahead. Isaiah chapter 26 and verse 3. Scripture promises peace to those whose minds are stayed on God because they trust in Him. Peace is not the absence of difficulty, it is the presence of trust. A formed heart learns that peace flows from trusting God, not from understanding everything He allows. Now, what a trusting heart looks like, what does that look like? A heart that has learned to trust God responds differently under pressure. It prays before reacting. It waits without despair. It obeys without demanding guarantees. Trust does not eliminate questions, but it anchors the heart while answers are still forming. Here's a core truth of both you and I. Trust is formed when the heart learns to rely on God more than its own understanding. Very simplistic. That kind of trust does not arrive overnight, but it is worth the formation process. By way of application, let me invite you to reflect on this question. Where am I still leaning on my own understanding instead of trusting God with my whole heart? Learning to trust God is not about suppressing fear. It is about placing confidence in God's character. A formed heart learns that God is faithful even when the forward is unclear. As we continue in this series, we'll look at how that trust enables the heart to endure pressure without losing faith or direction. And when we consider this, then we come to the appreciation this is what it means to be formed to fight. Thank you so much for spending time with me.